Hey people, I got the second double IPA in Firestone's Leo versus Ursus chronology, as they're dubbing it now. Very official. It is, so far it's just been double IPAs that are a little different from the normal West Coast thing that they've been doing at Firestone. And the last one was called Fortune, and that was a nice tropical, soft, barely bitter double IPA. This one's also unfiltered and pretty low in the IBUs as they listed. And the dry hop is Equinox, Mandarina, Azaka, and Citra. So I guess they're, let me think, Equinox, no, none of those are Southern Hemisphere hops, but they're all pretty different hops. And it uses Pilsner malt, wheat malt, a little bit of oats, and dextrose. So it's a lot of the same ingredients in these new wave hazy IPAs. I liked the last edition of this one quite a bit. It impressed me that Firestone was able to do something like that. And I've also been getting the first shipment of these beers really fresh on the East Coast here. This one was canned less than 3 weeks ago. And yeah, I don't get a lot of super fresh Firestone out here, so I don't drink them as much as I would. So let's see, it's not super duper hazy, but it's definitely quite unfiltered. There are no chunks or anything, and it looks a lot like the last edition, I would say, in the glass. Beautiful soapy head happening there. Very, very high quality for sure. Ooh, and not the soft, sweet, tropical aroma that the last edition from this series was. Yeah, there's a little bit of a piney grapefruit thing going on. It's a little bit different. There's some candy notes in there, but Equinox, formerly known as Equinox, is an exciting hop that can be super cedary. It can be all over the place with its aromas, and I think, yeah, there's definitely a piney, woody forest happening in here, mixed in with the, yeah, there is some sweet citrus. The mandarin oranges is in there. Definitely that canned mandarin orange aromas in there. But now I'm getting lots of candied notes of things in general. The Citra heavy sweet tropical fruit is in there. That's what I'm actually getting primarily now. And just a little bit of a green quality. It's definitely not super dank or anything. But yeah, maybe there's a touch of a grassy, piney thing, but it's not sappy. Doesn't seem like it's gonna be really really bitter. I can see this beer becoming a little more big on the pine character if it weren't as fresh. But it smells like it's gonna be a nice balanced beer where there are some nice woodsy elements mixed in with the tropical elements, but nothing too skunky or oniony or dank or anything like that. Oh yes, that's nice. Yeah, I'm getting lots of bubblegummy things. Maybe from the Azaka and the Citra probably, and the mandarin is really soft and fruity. And then it comes to, yeah, melony and mandarin, really sweet oranges and melon flavors. And of course there's a little bit of a Smarties thing going on. And there's some body to it, not that big of a body though. And barely any bitterness. Rather sweet. Yeah, it's a lot like the last one, but I think this one might work on the balance a little better because it doesn't just seem as much like a really sweet tropical cocktail. There's something that bites you a little harder in this one. Probably from the use of Equinox. Brings in this interesting cedary thing. Yeah, it's not a thin body. It's nothing that I would be like, wow, really? It's 8.2 and it's this thin? Yeah, I didn't mention that. It's 8.2% alcohol. But it works. And then now I'm getting a little bit of some bitter bite, almost pine. It's kind of, now that I'm noticing the heat more. The booze is very, very subtle in this beer. It is super cold though. Finally, the temperature has actually dropped. It didn't even get to 70 degrees today, I think, or barely in the 60s and around here. So my beer is staying very cold. Yeah, now I'm getting a rindy, citric, bitter bite. It's kind of nice. So at first, once I was getting my nose really in there, and after the first sip, I was like, "Ew, this is gonna be very sweet." Yeah, now I'm noticing more of a bitter lemon lime rind Sprite sort of flavor, mixed in with that cedary quality, that very fragrant woodiness. It's not exactly pine on the nose, but I like it. Yeah, it's for sure not the murky, hazy thing we've got going on in New England and now I guess all over the country. Firestone isn't straying too far from what they do best at. What actually they do a really great job of, I think, is getting lots of fruity aromas out of their beers and not being so in-your-face bitter like so many West Coast style beers. And this one still carries a little bit of a torch for the beers that aren't super yeast forward. Like all the fruitiness in this is not coming from, Conan yeast. I'm not getting that peach cobblery, intense additional stone fruit that's not from the hops. At least I don't think so. From what I read about this beer, they don't use like a special different yeast strain and really, really different brewing process. I'm sure they do dry hop this heavily and they use late hops, and all that stuff. But yeah, I'd be interested in how they dry hop, if they ever do the dry hopping during the fermentation and do it later on for that's the New England style. And it seems like almost they may have done that to get all the fruitiness out of the hops for this beer. But it does not seem like it's the Conan yeast strain. It doesn't seem like it's Trillium type yeast strain. They definitely don't leave it so crazy unfiltered. There's probably a bit more haze in the bottom of this can, but I don't remember the last batch of cans having extra sediment on the bottom that you could mix in and get it to be murky. This is another good one. It's recommended if you want a really fruity, not too bitter IPA, but you're tired of the New England hazy, juicy thing, tasting all that yeast fruitiness and all that calcium sulfate and whatever they add to it to make it that beautiful texture. So I do, at least 80 for this one. Very good. Firestone continues to be one of my favorite hoppy beer producers from California. See you later.